Hey friends, my name is John Bush. I'm an activist, father of two, entrepreneur, and a pursuer of peace and freedom and the good life. And I wanted to do this video to introduce myself to the Conscious Resistance Network. Some of you may be familiar with me and my work, others may not. So I'm going to be starting to publish videos here under the show name Live Free Now, encouraging you to live a free, prosperous, healthy, active, enjoyable life. And Derek asked me to do a video to introduce myself to the audience. I know that you guys are very active, very informed, very loyal, so I'm super honored and grateful to be able to share my information, my wisdom, my tips, tricks, analysis on all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And one thing that I really appreciate about the Conscious Resistance is, excuse the bed there, is how proactive the philosophy is. And Derek also often talks about holistic anarchism, right? I got involved in activism back in 2002 when I learned about the treachery of 9/11, how the official story was a bunch of hogwash. I was in large part influenced by Alex Jones, but since he took his fascist turn and just kind of went off in douchebaggery, don't follow him anymore. But he had an early influence on opening my eyes to question the official story of all sorts of stuff, and started investigating conspiracy theories and the plan to create a totalitarian global government, and Agenda 21 and all that stuff. And along the way, I got introduced to Ron Paul and libertarianism, and finally kind of had a name and a philosophy that I could get behind. I already had those values. I was really had a lot of admiration for the Founding Fathers and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. I would later reject those ideas because the Constitution actually created more government than existed before. It created a very strong central government that we've seen turn into the most powerful central government that history has ever known. But the libertarianism was really important to me. And then there's that old joke, what's the difference between a libertarian and an anarchist? It's like 6 months. Probably about the right time. I thought like I was a Ron Paul Republican in 2007, 2008, and went to the Texas Republican Party convention and saw how the Republican Party betrayed the grassroots. In fact, the Ron Paul campaign betrayed the grassroots itself, but we'll save that for another day. And that's when I learned about agorism and anarchism and started studying Murray Rothbard and his philosophy, and I learned about Samuel Edward Konkin. I think Derek actually may have first heard about agorism from a speech I gave. It must have been back in 2010 at an End the Fed rally in Houston. But it was all about police accountability, Federal Reserve, and the idea was if you want to end the Fed, you can end the Fed by using alternative currencies. And back then, I was way into silver. And then shortly thereafter, I'd learn about Bitcoin and all that stuff. And so, like Derek's approach, it's not as much about the problem, although I appreciate the research that he does and he dives deep into the conspiracy. We can see him doing that with the coronavirus stuff now. But really the focus and the importance lies on what are we going to do about it, right? So I see a lot of people sharing stuff about Bill Gates and all this coronavirus conspiracies, and it's contrived and manufactured. And for me, it's like, yes, that is interesting to research and somewhat entertaining, just like politics, right? Like, I don't care who the next president, I do care who the next president is, but I don't think it's going to affect my life so much as other people do. For me, it's like I learned that 9/11 was an inside job in 2002 and then spent a decade, even annoyingly, just pounding on people about 9/11 inside job, can't trust the government, false flag terror. And now, fast forward, so many people know and understand that 9/11 was an inside job, but nobody's done anything about it. Same thing with all the Epstein stuff. It's like, yeah, there's this pedophile and they were raping people and all this elite Illuminati stuff and rituals and Podesta and Pizzagate. And it's like the awareness comes out in the mass consciousness, but still there's nobody holding anyone accountable. There's no mass arrest. There's no revolution taking place. So for me, the focus, the importance is on what can we do? What concrete action steps can we do to create a more free life for all of us, a more free world and more free society? And that's why agorism is so interesting to me, revolutionary market anarchism, the idea that we shouldn't compete within the system, we should compete with the system. Creating these alternative institutions has really resonated with me for over a decade now. I first learned about agorism in 2009, and since then it's been like, all right, what are we going to do? Okay, let's grow our own food. Let's create mutual aid networks. That's where the idea of the Freedom Cell came along. It was like, man, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. The existing institution is completely antithetical to liberty. It doesn't matter who's in power, who's in office, it's the system that's the problem. So why don't we create this decentralized peer-to-peer mutual aid network? We can call it Freedom Cells. That's where this idea came about, and started pushing it, promoting it. And that's really been the focus. And again, bring it back to conscious resistance and my good friend Derek Bros, who I'm like a super fan of Derek Bros. We're good friends, but I still am like a fanboy. That's what the message is all about. That's why I'm so grateful to be here on this channel. So that was a little bit about my history, my upbringing, where I'm at in the present day. You know, there was a lot of focus outward for so long and a lot of focus on external tyrants. And another reason why Derek Bros' stuff resonates with me is because he has that saying, it's like, if we overthrow or topple the government and create an anarchist society, unless we do the inner work, it's only going to be a matter of time before a despotic system just replicates itself, takes its place, right? So there was a long period where I started doing some inner work. I used to be stressed and angry a lot, and my family life was crazy, living in poverty, and things were nuts. And I did a whole lot of work and really have found a lot of peace and balance through that. So what I want to bring to this channel and what I want to offer to you guys that are watching is I'm going to be hammering on agorism. I'm going to be giving my analysis of what's taking place in the economy. I'm going to be giving my analysis, a little bit of politics, just because it's a lot of fun to stay up with that. It's like a story. It's like soap opera, really. But one thing that I really want to offer is not just about the national economy or the world economy, but about your personal economy. So I've really been into entrepreneurship lately. I have a store called Brave Botanicals. We sell kratom and CBD. Maybe you've heard about our free ounce offer on some of Derek's offerings, or have you seen my interview? You can go to freeounceofkratom.com to try a free ounce, or go to mybravebotanicals.com to check out the normal website. And since 2009, I haven't been employed by anyone. I've been self-employed, founding nonprofits, working with political action committees, running my own businesses, doing the Liberty Beat, the radio news service, which Derek used to write for us, do a lot of great work, going to Ross Ulbricht's trial. Ran Brave New Books, underground bookstore in Austin, Texas for a couple years. And really, I just worked my ass off and was still in poverty. But things have really been clicking for me in the past year or so. And so I'm not loaded with money by any means, but I am living a lot better than I was before. And I have the freedom to choose and dictate my own schedule. So in these times right now with the coronavirus and all the economic problems and people losing work and people having to stay home, I think I have a lot to offer, not only to help people find more balance and zen, peace, internal peace and freedom, but also to hopefully help you find some financial freedom so you can take control of your life, not be dependent on an external employer. And so no matter what's happening in the economy, yes, it's going to affect you, but you can still have sovereignty over your own personal economy. So I think that's something unique that I have to offer this bunch. I'm also going to be talking a lot about natural health, health freedom, plant medicines, whether it's cannabis, CBD, kratom, kava, ayahuasca, all that good stuff. Plant medicine has been an important part of my life. It's my business, so I also want to share those opportunities. I also launched bravehealthstore.com if you want to check that out. People looking for some colloidal silver, alcohol-based hand sanitizer, some immune-boosting supplements. All this stuff is important. So I'm not only going to educate you about that stuff, also share some of the offerings that I have, see if you could take advantage on some great deals on that. But I also want to help educate people on how they can launch their own venture, how they can take their passion and turn it into a productive business that can fund their future, fund their family, help grow their activism. So I'm going to be talking a lot about that stuff. Way into nonviolent communication. The idea that we should speak in terms of our feelings and our needs in order to get more out of life, in order to connect better with other human beings, in order to have harmonious relationships. And the cool thing about nonviolent communication is it's not only a communication style for others, but it's also an internal communication style that you can apply to your internal dialogue. And after all, that's where it all starts. I think mindfulness is like a foundational element to any growth, whether it's financial growth, personal, spiritual development. It's all about mindfulness, because we can talk about it on a YouTube video, we can read about it in a book, but in that moment when your kids are trying your nerves, or your significant other, you're getting in a fight and they're breaking each other's balls, it's in that moment where the rubber meets the road, and it's mindfulness that can help us be like, well, wait a second, I'm starting to get those feelings inside my body, I'm starting to feel a little tense down my stomach. That usually means I'm going to have an outburst, so I better come back to my breathing. All that stuff. So we're going to be talking about natural health. We're going to be talking about peace and financial freedom. We're going to be talking about internal peace. We're going to be talking about agorism. This is I've just been so dedicated to entrepreneurship and kind of in a little bit of a bubble as of late. I used to be more active. I used to lead this group, Texans for Accountable Government, a political action committee in Austin, Texas. Focused a lot about police states, individual liberties, civil liberties, privacy. That group's still going on, 10 years strong. And then, and I did like the speaking circuit and was at all the conferences, but then I got tired of living in poverty. I have 2 kids. They're 6 and 8 years old, man, and I don't want my kids to be in poverty ever again. So we're doing a lot better financially, and I've been focused so much on entrepreneurship and internal and growing my business, but I'm excited, and Derek Bros gave me the opportunity to get out there into the world, to share some of the gifts that I have in order to build community, encourage, empower, inspire people. So that's what I'm all about. This has been about 10 minutes. Usually I'm pretty long-winded. I hope you'll learn to like that. I know a lot of Bros' videos are long too, so I hope we can learn from each other, love one another, peace and freedom, and you're beautiful, you're free. What's Derek Bros say? You're beautiful, you're free. I love you, whatever. Anyways, this is John Bush. Again, the show is going to be called Live Free Now. The video series is going to be called Live Free Now. You can check me out at mybraveBotanicals.com. freeounceofkratom.com if you want to try Free Ounce. If you want to get some cool health products that'll help boost your immune system, we also have water filtration systems and hand sanitizer. That's bravehealthstore.com. But yeah, looking forward to working with you guys and growing the community and spreading agorism freedom cells. All right, guys. Peace and freedom. I'm out. Thanks.